contact action fraud now. They're like, oh, sorry to hear that you think you've been scammed. Tell us, why do you think you've been scammed? I'm like, bruv, I have been scammed. Like, just help me. Stop making me relive this trauma. Like, do you know what? It bugged me. I was like, how did, whoever you are, how did you know I'm looking for places? So I guess like maybe they like hacked into my email. I don't know. Or maybe he even works for like an estate agent and he's like a fraud on the side. Like,
hello guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Lucky.
My name is Shaneka.
And today we've got a story to tell you, a little story time. We're going to be talking about a time when we got defrauded, so 419.
We got scammed, we lost our peas, our money, oh my days.
Let's get on with it. So what exactly were we defrauded about on? What was the issue?
So basically, it was approximately this time last year, but actually it was probably more towards August last year. But anyway, we were obviously looking for somewhere to live. We were going to be getting married 3 months from then. So we were like, okay, we need to find somewhere to live. We need to view houses, everything like this.
Basically, we're doing the, various house viewings and looking at different places, the potential place that we can get into. And you stumbled across a very interesting apartment.
Yeah, so to be fair, you know, I was doing most of it, you know, most of the inquiries, looking, contacting the landlords and the estate agents and everything. So I contacted so many different, you know, landlords, estate agents, and so that meant there was emails going back and forth in my email inbox. So one day I get this email into my inbox, and they were just basically saying, hey, you know, we found this property for you, it's in particular area, this is how much it is on a monthly basis. Sorry, the landlord does not live in the UK at the moment. He is a cardiologist in Switzerland, so you know, you may not really be able to get him on the phone, but if you email, he may reply, this, that, or the other. So then after, at that point, we actually had seen somewhere that we were really interested in already. It was a bit over what we really wanted to pay for somewhere to live, but it was really nice. So I remember being like, and also by the way, at this very same time, one of Lucky's friends was getting married as well. So there was just a lot going on. It was like we already were interested in a house. We were having his friend's wedding, and then we were getting into the 3-month run of our wedding. So there was quite a lot happening. So I said to Lucky, oh man, I know we've seen the other house that we like, but there's this house that's come up and the price is amazing. The location is it's nice and it's a really good place. So I was like, what should we do? Like, should we just leave it, or should we just make little inquiries and see? Because if anything, we can not go with the first house that we liked because it was, you know, a little bit more expensive, and come to this one, which was much closer to the budget that we were interested in. So then we said, well, might as well inquire. Can't hurt you to inquire, or can it?
Oh boy. Yeah.
So then I've replied to this guy, oh yes, you know, thank you for your interest. I think if I can, I'm even going to try and get some screenshots of these emails.
Basically, you replied them and told them that you're interested in the house, and they should give you like a, well, how do you view it a bit better? So
yeah, I got to the point where I said to him, okay, yeah, I don't mind contacting this landlord and going from there. Now we were contacting each other on emails, and he was saying to me, you know, oh, you know, due to my working hours, you know, you know, my availability is restricted basically. So I'm thinking, well, yeah, damn, you know, you was a doctor or whatever, like you're working in a hospital, like I get that, you know. So what tended to happen is we always used to email like either in the night or right in the morning, because you know, we miss each other or whatever, like someone's already asleep or whatever, he gets up early, so I thought. So we were emailing for a little while, and he was basically explaining to me the whole process, telling me, okay, I would need a reference from your current landlord. That was kind of it. And then he said basically that the property is listed on booking.com, and
Wahala number one. Booking.com.
Literally. So, you know, for me, I'm like, this one is 2019, you know, there's different ways to find your property. So maybe I've never seen anything on Booking.com. It doesn't mean you can't find things on there. Of course, I still thought it was weird. I was like, Booking.com, like, but I was just like, who am I to know what landlords are doing these days, you know? So he was like, yeah, you know, it's on Booking.com, and this is basically the process. But there was a few steps, and he basically said once he receives the reference from my landlord, he will send me this link to pay my deposit. Now he said because he's not in the country, we would not be able to view that property before paying the deposit. And I remember like telling Lucky and stuff like that, and I don't know, like we were kind of like, oh, okay, like, okay. But he said, you know, I have got a link that you can see a virtual tour of the place. And also, by the way, the road that this place was on is like a long road, like it's proper long. So it's like it could have been anywhere on that road. I even remember asking him for the postcode of the flat. Because I was like, okay, well, since we can't view it, can I please at least get the postcode? And he said, you know, unfortunately I cannot release the full postcode to you because you haven't paid a deposit and this, that and the other. So I was like, okay, like, do you know what, this is his property, he's not in the country, maybe he has a point, you know. So then he was like, once you pay the deposit, you'll be able to have access to this place where you can get a key and go and view the property. And then even at that point I was like, that's a bit unusual, because how do you know I'm gonna leave? What if from that day, because when we were looking, as I said, it's up to like 3 months before our wedding, around there. So from the day that I paid a deposit, that's not the day when my tenancy starts, etc. So I just thought that is a bit weird. Like, I remember just being like, how is that gonna work? So I should go somewhere, get a key, look at this place, and then go back and put the key back. Like I really just thought, I'm not sure about the logistics of that. But again, everything is, you know, the 21st century, you just don't know, you can do different things. The flat price was £900 a month, which in all honesty, even in the area, is relatively cheap, and it was all bills included. I feel so silly now, like when I think about it, it's like it was just genuinely too good to be true. But then at the same time, you just, at sometimes, like in certain circumstances, you never know, because you could actually find that deal. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really tough. So anyway, yeah, £900 a month, all bills included, beautiful high spec flat.
By the way, when the video that he showed us of the house viewing, the virtual one, it's quite interesting that you cannot see a face of anybody on it. So
at one point I did see like the body in the mirror.
The body was in the mirror, but not the face. So they filmed it very, very cunningly.
Strategically.
And the fact that all you see is the flat opening, and then you see the apartment, and that's it. It's like you don't see the environment in the way it is. For we know, this flat is in Dubai, or is in China, or is in Vietnam. There is no idea. It just looked like a normal one-bedroom flat. So we did not even pick up on that. So
yeah,
that was just another signs, like little sign. We were at a few clues, but we just thought that it's okay. The price was very attractive, that we were able to turn a blind eye to many things.
Also, like, I think like we were literally doing so many things at that time. As I was saying, you're planning a wedding, like there's just so much that you have to do. There's so much in your head, there's so much you have to account for. So it was definitely at a point where, like, as much as we had so many different thoughts around this, we wasn't really like willing to look into it and question it, which is a bit unfortunate. So it was crazy. So yeah, my guy's like, okay, boom, this is the procedure, this, that and the other. And he was like, so yeah, I'll send you the booking.com link. You'll have 24 hours to pay your deposit. The deposit was, so as I said, the rent was 900, but for some reason the deposit was about 1,900. So then he sent that to me in the morning, like, because as I said, we usually communicate in the morning or in the evening, whatever. And then it got to like the afternoon, like I think like 2, 3ish, and then he called me. So I'm getting this call, so I was like, am I gonna pick this up or not, because I didn't have the number in my phone anyway. And then it was actually from a UK number. Bear in mind the guy's supposed to live in Switzerland, isn't it? So I was thinking, oh, okay, who is this sort of thing? And then when I've heard that it was him, sorry, I'm like, wait, why has he got a UK number? Oh, who knows, maybe his SIM works there, because you know, like now you can use your SIM in, like the EU places, whatever. So I was like, okay, maybe his SIM's working there, whatever. Like I didn't really know why he had this UK number. Yeah, so he's called me and he's like, oh yeah, hi, I just want to check that, you know, you still want this place. And I was like, yeah, we do. He was like, okay, like, so just don't forget, let me know when you're gonna pay this deposit. I was like, yeah, I am. Like, you said it's 24 hours. Like, it hasn't been 24 hours. I'll pay it before 24 hours. He was like, okay, I just wanted to check. And he had like this, he definitely had an accent. Actually, this makes so much sense now. I was about to say he had an Eastern European accent. But now, if we go to the next part of the story, it will make a little bit of sense. So basically, I wanted to, I don't know, I think we just decided we would pay this deposit like together, like when we are both together. But obviously Lucky finishes work a lot later than me, whatever. So we didn't end up paying it until the night, like let's say 9, 10 or something like that. So I've gone to like Lucky's house and we looked through all this information, because in the link it told you kind of like where you should pay the money to, who, you know, what name you should pay it to, and all these sort of things. So we're kind of sitting there and we're looking at this information and we're like, okay, cool. So we've got this cardiologist landlord who lives in Switzerland, but then we're being asked to pay this money. By the way, the name of the person who asked to pay the money to is different to the name of the guy I've been communicating with. The country where the bank is registered, where I'm supposed to deposit the money to, is also different to the resident of this landlord who's supposed to be in Switzerland.
Also, basically what the man said was that it's because we're paying to his broker, not him directly. So that's why the account details was different. Also very, very questionable. Wow.
So yeah, so we're looking at it and it's asking us to send this money to Lithuania, and we're like, wait, why is this money going to Lithuania when this guy's supposed to be in Switzerland? And like, we definitely questioned that, but we didn't like think it was cause enough to not continue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we just saw the bargain. It's like the bargain was much more attractive than this other questions that was going around.
Do you know what? Maybe that was the case for you. Yeah. I just think it was literally like so many things were going on. I wanted to secure a house, and I was like, this seems like, it didn't seem as dodgy. Although I had those little things in my head, it was like I generally was kind of just like, that's just a silly thought, if that makes sense. It didn't seem to click. And it's like, also I think because I didn't have all of those thoughts at once, it was just like, oh, that's a bit weird. Oh, okay, well, yeah, anyway, back to what we've been, you know what I mean? Like, it was just came as a shock. So we've seen it, and we it's funny because when we were reading through that information of like okay, name and the place and this, that and the other, we did kind of look at it for a minute and we proper like questioned it, and we were just kind of thinking, why is it saying this when we've been talking, I can't even remember his name, we've been talking to X about this and this. And anyway, especially when he called me in the afternoon, and from the whole time he said to me, as soon as you make the payment, let me know, then I can release the whatever it is that you need to release to me. Also, actually, another thing that I realized that really bugged me is that where had I gone? I had gone somewhere. I don't even know if it was it Uganda? I don't know. I had gone somewhere, and even a number of places, and I had them on my booking.com account. So like when I kind of started to make that booking, and it came up in my account history. However, this didn't, and I was thinking, why is this not in my, like, I was really, at that point I said, no, this is getting a bit scary, because initially I was thinking booking.com is a reputable website, like if anything we'll be able to have everything here, like, do you know what I mean, they can do their thing. So I think also that just gave me that extra confidence. I just thought, these things, you know, it's going to be very trackable. Do you know what I mean? But then I did begin to notice, wait, this is not showing up in my account, like history, whatever you want to call it. Get to the point where we're about to send the money, and by the way, for the first time, I get this notification from my bank. I'm about to send it, and they're like, this could be a scam, like like, you know, they're doing it quite a lot now. And I looked at it, and I definitely looked at it for longer than I should have if I didn't think it was a scam, if that makes sense. And I thought, nah, ain't no scam over here. Continue. And I've continued, and I've gone through this process of basically sending this money over to this guy. And yep, we sent just over 1,900 actually, because it was to Lithuania. There was just a little extra fee for you know, sending internationally. And so we've sent it at night, as I said. So
you messaged the man, you emailed the man saying that it's done.
Yeah, so I've done it, and then I emailed him, and I really, you know, wanted him, well, not wanted, but I thought he would reply straight away, because one, as I said, he did often reply in the night. But then I'm like, even if he don't, let me sleep, let me get a good sleep and wake up to that lovely email notification that, oh, thank you, I've received your payment, this is whatever the next part of the process was. I cannot even remember at this point. I wake up now, I see no notification in my email. So I probably even sent another email being like, I have sent your thing, like, well, go on, like, can you at least, like, do you know what I mean? Like, nothing has come. I think it got to maybe, I don't even know if it was up to midday. And I said, Lucky, I think that was a scam, you know? Like, I remember just saying, Lucky, I think that was a scam. Like, how did you feel when I said that?
To be honest, with the man responding, like, all morning, like, I was beginning to think that within myself. The thing is, I was never at peace throughout the process.
Really? You couldn't have saved us?
But that's like you're saying, many things was going on in our lives. So I just, it was just, I was not fully at peace. But I just thought it was a way to get that out of the way. I just wanted to get the housing part out of the way, so I didn't really mind as much. Can
you believe we literally never saw this property with our eyes?
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. I can't believe it.
And I think that was one of our things that we said before we started looking for us, that we need to look at the property, we need to view it, to check what it's like.
Do you know what bugged me? I was like, how did, whoever you are, how did you know I'm looking for places? So I guess like maybe they like hacked into my email, I don't know. Or maybe he even works for like an estate agent and he's like a fraud on the side. Like, I do not know. But for me, I was like, no one would just know I'm looking for somewhere. Like, I just kept on like, is it rationalizing? Like every thought I had, I made it seem a bit more like, oh no, but you know, this, that and the other, do you know what I mean? Like, so that is obviously a very bad thing. So basically, yeah, I remember being like, oh my goodness, I think we've been defrauded. I think it was a scam. And I remember like at one point I just emailed him being like, I know this is a scam. Or I think I said, oh, my bank has suspected it's a scam, like something or the other, like expecting him to like reassure me and be like, oh no, this isn't a scam, sorry, I was busy in the operating theatre, whatever, do you know what I mean? Like, silence. And when I heard that silence, because like I said, let me just give him the opportunity to own up or quiver in his boots, you get it? Like, but he probably was thinking, like she sent me the money anyway, so, and he probably wanted me to say that so he knows not to respond from that point, if that makes sense. I have no idea. So yeah, I was on my way to meet my friend after work. It was actually in the afternoon, and because I realized it was a scam, I was like, I need to let my bank know, I need to let actual fraud know, like I need to do whatever I can. I was on my way to my friend, I said my phone was dying, like 5%, like, and I'm contacting these people, I was like, oh my gosh, contact action fraud now. They're like, oh, sorry to hear that you think you've been scammed. Tell us, why do you think you've been scammed? I'm like, bruv, I have been scammed, like just help me, stop making me relive this trauma. Like, it was just so annoying. Action fraud were useless. They were absolutely useless. Thank God my bank was so much more effective at like actually helping. So they kind of did obviously ask like, what happened, this, that and the other, this, that and the other. So obviously I was able to explain what happened, and I was able to explain like the discrepancies in like the place where this man is supposed to live, and the area where we've sent the money to, the names. I was able to say basically this was like the specific scenario. We were supposed to look at a house, all these sort of things. We never actually got to see it, this, that, and the other. So they said to us, basically, I might be able to get that up as well. Actually, they basically said that these circumstances is very unlikely to get your money back because
you paid with your own hands.
Basically, yeah, because like you transferred it. It's not even as if someone's come into your bank and taken it themselves, which is the very difficult thing when it comes to scams. You need to be very, very, very careful before you send money to someone else, because if you've made that transaction, it's almost as if, how can we now prove that you didn't know, if that makes sense? But by the grace of God, because this man was international, the transfer does not go through straight away. And also, this is what he did. So basically, when you do international payments, there's two types. There's basically an express one and like a standard one, and he was telling us to do the express one, and he obviously knows that that's going to obviously get to him quicker. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember which one we ended up doing, but either one of them, they're nowhere near as quick as like a UK transfer, bank transfer. So
I was just gonna say, at the point when we found out that we've been defrauded, can you imagine that how it could have been? Like, we're planning for a wedding.
Yeah, 2K gone.
2K gone. That's the money we put into our deposit. So there was nothing else that was gonna come from. There was no way other place we were planning to get money from to pay for the house. So at that point, it was just so overwhelming.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I didn't know what to do, honestly. I just like, what? We've been frauded.
Crazy.
And but I remember telling my wife that this is gonna be fine, don't worry, we'll sort it out. We'll find money from somewhere. But I can imagine that point many people would crumble, like literally, like that's it. But I just saw it as an opportunity to just say, have faith in God.
Honestly, like we actually had so much peace
because there's nothing that we could do about it. It's gone. So are we gonna start stressing, or are we gonna look for another plan on how we can move forward? So I feel like that moment was really testing for us, but I felt the peace that was in there was just amazing for us. Like, many people did not know that happened to us. Like, we just continued living, but it was it was not easy to find out that you losing most of your money that you've budgeted for your housing straight away 3 months before your wedding. So there's like not like you have enough time to start making all the extra money. So it was a bit techie, if I must say. Because
the transfer does not happen as instant as in the UK, I think that was genuinely our saving grace. They were like, you know, give us, I think they said about 21 days or 2 weeks. I can't remember how long they said, but they were like, give us this time and we'll kind of holler at you, innit?
When they said that it was going to be take up to 21 days, we literally said that we gave up. We just said that the money's gone.
We were like, do you know what? Goodbye 2K, because like
there's no way. It's like
if we need to make back 2K, we can't wait 21 days because then we're even closer to our wedding day. We definitely were at a point where we still had stuff to pay for. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I was on my way to work, come out of the underground, and then I got a notification from my bank, and it was like, you know, you've got a message from your bank. I've opened. Actually, no, it wasn't even, because my bank is like sick on it basically. So before I even got the notification of the message, I see that the funds had been returned in a notification. I was like, oh my gosh, like I was so happy, I was so thankful, and it was much quicker than that like 21 days. They basically said the bank had withheld the funds, so they denied it. You know, I don't know if any, I don't know, you know, everyone's different, but I don't know if any of you, you know, kind of encountered had like fraud in the UK, whatever. But like, if money comes into your account which the bank is suspicious of, essentially sometimes they don't even let it come into your account, if that makes sense. So that's basically what they did. And then because they hadn't accepted that money, my bank were able to say, I'm so sorry, that came to you in error, and you know, they were able to give it back to us, and we were so happy. We were so happy to know that, you know, God really came through in that circumstance, because I just got to a point where I was like, do you know what, like, it's just money. I know it's a lot of money, but like, I can't let this like derail us at this point. Like, we'll either just have to do the wedding on 2K less or whatever, but we can't like sacrifice having somewhere to live. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're still gonna have to look for places. Like, we were still having viewings in between the time of not having that 2K. Like,
so I think that's such a great testimony for us, because They tried to phone us, but God was like,
Yeah.
so let them
And
try.
oh my gosh, we forgot. So also, when I said I think we've been defrauded, I think, like, as I said, from the morning to the afternoon, it's only in the afternoon when I've contacted my bank, Action Fraud. So I've told Lucky, then Lucky was like, okay, let me contact booking.com and say to them, okay, we've been, because, you know, he did give us like a booking reference number, all these sort of things that booking.com would typically give you. So he said, okay, we've been communicating with this landlord about this property on this sort of reference number. We just wanted to verify, are they actually registered on your website? And we got this sad email from booking.com being like, unfortunately they are not listed on this website, they're not registered. And then that's when we had to realize that this is a lie. Like, it's actually a lie, like it's actually a fraud. It's just
It's not easy, but like I said, it was a trying moment, was a testing moment for us, and it's very easy to fall a victim, because before that I would have thought that I'm a very clever person and that would never happen to me. It's like, come on, who's gonna fall on me? I'm a Nigerian and that, but you never know what shape is gonna come, and most of the time is when you're desperate for something, or when your mind is cluttered with so many other things, that these little things can just step up out of nowhere and you would think it's a blessing in disguise, but sometimes it's not. So that's why we definitely advise that you go through the steps, step by step. Don't cut any short corners, because you never know where they're gonna come through. And for us, I feel like there's many things that we clearly missed, oversaw or missed, or just looked past, that could have easily helped us track this. For example, booking.com. In fact, for example, the email that came to her.
Because the thing is, what's crazy, even when it came, I forgot to say, I was like, where the hell has this come from? And so I basically went on the website that was referenced in the email to be like, because obviously, not obviously, but generally, and it's quite embarrassing to say at this point, given what happened, but generally I'm quite an organized person, do you know what I mean? So I'll be very aware, okay, I remember emailing this estate agent about this, but I was like, where the hell was this email come from? Obviously there was nothing below it either. So I've gone to the website where what they've listed, and it appeared that they were like a new estate agent. So I was like, okay, like it was just weird. But also so I remember having training at work afterwards, and they were talking about things to look out for, like when it comes to like scams and fraud and stuff. And one of the things they said is basically like, if you're given a very limited time to do something, so for example we had 24 hours to respond to that thing, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you shouldn't have to be rushed. Like, why do you need 24 hours, or why would you need 8 hours, or why would you need to do it before, do you know what I mean? Like, so that's definitely something to look out for. Like, if there is that time element, that time pressure, you might want to say to yourself, is this legit, is it genuine? Like, to be honest, there's so much like, I don't know if the word is resources, but there's so much out there now to help you be so much more aware when it comes to this. Because now pretty much most times if I do a bank transfer, I am getting that notification, could this be a scam? Whereas before that day I never received it, in all honesty.
Yeah, because I was saying, like, so true. I think, like I said, the first thing, the email, where's it coming from? We never heard of this before. No, we never had an idea of this estate agent before. The second thing, the listing was on booking.com,
which is so unusual.
And it's nothing that we'll be looking for. We'll be using Zoopla or Rightmove. We never used anything that was out of the ordinary. Booking.com for me was for holidays and
honestly,
and Airbnbs. So for me, that was another red flag that we overlooked. And then you move on, and then you can't view the house. It's another thing that we overlooked as well. The landlord lives in Switzerland, and he can only show you video, and there was a specific website only dedicated for just that video. Another thing was the fact that the man is a doctor. Why would a doctor be doing businesses like that in another country? He only messages at night. Another red flag. When it came to payments, why is the address in a different country? She usually have history of people that she's dealing with on booking.com, but we cannot find a specific one on our own history. Another red flag. So then
he called me from his UK number. It's too much. I don't even know, like, how I couldn't realize this at the time.
But this is all things that we missed out, and even up to the part that we made the payment and you had no response from him.
And I think for us, like, when we found out from booking.com that it wasn't real, we basically said, okay, but this is what's happened to us. Like, we really want to stop this from happening in the future. So our only hope is that, like, his bank account got closed down or something, because it's so wicked to steal people's money that is not your own. And even though he coerced us, do you know what I mean? Like, but you're still stealing because you know that it's not a legitimate offer that you're offering. So for us, it was just like, there's so many people that this is not gonna be okay for. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I saw it as a warning. I was like, God, thank you, there's only 2k. For all I know now, I don't want to be in a position where I have much more and I can fall victim to this sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I just said, okay, let me use that for learning, because that's not gonna be my downfall. 2k, I beg.
This, they will give you an offer that you like, oh my god, I don't want to miss this, I'm not gonna get this anywhere. So again, making you feel emotionally engaged into it. It's also another red flag. Anybody can be scammed. So no matter where you are, who you are, you can be, if you're not following your principle. Just basic things, basic checks. If things doesn't, like I said, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So definitely check your parameters. And also, that's why it's very really wrong to support fraud or people doing fraud. I know in society I'm coming from in Nigeria, sometimes people promote things like that, doing fraud, or saying that it's not your family that you're doing it to, you're doing it to somebody that lives abroad. It's still someone else that you're doing it to, and it's a painful experience, I must say. It's so painful. So we should never be in support of anybody doing fraud to anyone or using it as a way of living. It's so bad, so wrong, so immoral. And people that have worked really hard for their money are struggling and are suffering, and you take it and then you think it's something to celebrate about, but it's so wrong. Because
as I'm saying, we're talking about this was 2k, but I've heard of people that have lost hundreds or thousands, tens of thousands. People that have there's scams out there, people that have just received their pension. That is your life savings, essentially. Someone will call them up, say, oh yes, you know, I'm aware that you've received your pension, I'm from your bank, we just need to move the money from this account to this account because of whatever reason, and that money in the blink of an eye is gone. And it's very hard to get money back with these sort of scams, because you've essentially authorized that, but it's not willingly. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think all crimes are disgusting, but the very sad thing about these internet crimes and these scams is the fact that they're faceless. You have no idea who's doing it. You are innocent, you don't even know that person, and they're now coming and they're coercing you or finding ways to take your money. God forbid that person should suffer. They should.
And I know people joke about it, oh, somebody's getting fraud, but if you're the one on the other side and you're on the receiving end, it's such a painful experience, because you feel betrayed by everything, by society, by people. So it's so important that we shun such activities and not promote it. It's so wrong. And please be careful out there. You don't know where it's coming from. Just be careful when you see somebody from a different place, internet, trying to offer you something that you need so much. Check your basics, look out for the red flags. Yeah, and also just look out for your family members as well. There's so many different of these scams that come into my inbox on a daily basis. And for me, I'm like, okay, cool, I know that this is not genuine, but I just think of some of my family members, I'm like, they might not even be aware that this is literally not genuine. And there's so many little things you can do to check. Like, I think I might try and put something on the screen. Like, when someone emails you, literally all you really need to do is click on the name of that email, because they can change it. So it will come up as Lloyd's Bank or HMRC, Netflix or whatever. But when you click on that name, you will see flipping Dolly Parton from wherever, and you're like, okay, well, this is not legit, is it? So yeah, do also try and send like hints and tips to your family members who are less aware of what people are doing on the internet, because there's just so that this is probably so much more common than you think, because the amount of times I'm getting these emails on a weekly basis. Because the thing that they do is that they will send 1,000 emails, hopefully that 5 people will respond, and out of the 5 people, maybe 2 will be scammed. So no matter how many you receive, don't look at it, don't look into it, just disregard it, send it to your junk. And it's so bad to promote people making a sense of living through fraud, because it's so wrong. It's probably one of the worst thing that you can do to people, because people work hard for their money. Money doesn't come easily for people. You have to work really hard. What really pains me is those pensioners that have worked 30, 40, 50 years, and then all of a sudden somebody comes out from nowhere, takes away all their life savings. It's really wrong. So please, let's stop fraud. Let's bring it out, call it out for what it is. It is wrong. And yeah, be careful, look out, so important. Look out for the things that they can be using, the schemes that they can be using to reach out to you.
So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed our story. Obviously, we are so lucky and blessed that we got the money back.
We are lucky.
But yeah, this is something that we just had to share with people. Obviously, at the time, we told our friends, and obviously, by the grace of God, they were able to pray for us, which also just helped us. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you are just more aware about the situations from here on in.
Until next time. Take care, stay blessed, and yeah, you're gonna get more videos from us being real and sharing our testimonies, because this is an amazing testimony from us. God has brought us out of a very, very tough situation. But yeah, all the best until next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.